Hi everyone. This channel is called Wendy's Parade of Perfume and I'm Wendy. On this channel, I just talk about the perfume that's on my shelf, what I've been wearing, and what I've been thinking about perfume-wise. Now lately I've been thinking, are you not living in your soft girl energy? Is your glow up just kind of dimming out? Are you just fading into the darkness? Well, come on to the dark side because we're going to talk about dark, vampy fragrances today. Now, as usual, I have the three categories: designer, niche, and vintage. And a lot of these perfumes are going to be very floral based. They're going to be dark based, and they may be spicy, they may be out there, but they're not going to help you glow up, and they're not going to help you sit in your soft girl energy. So let's go do this. I'm going to start with the niches first. First, we have a perfume that I admittedly can barely wear, and that is the Blood Red Lush Lust. This, my friends, is what happens when you just dump a bunch of absolutes in a bottle, whip it up, and call it a day. This is a absolutely bombastic, dirty, strong jasmine surrounded by rose, ylang ylang, and sandalwood, and that is the extent of it. It is so strong. It is unpleasantly floral. It has hooks in this perfume. The jasmine is like for real. If you want to smell an indolic, dirty, sassy jasmine, Lush Lust is the one. I've had this bottle for a few years and I've managed to wear like one spray at a time. Very occasionally, I'll put one spray on a little blotter and I'll put it across the room and I can just smell it that way because that is how strong and how crazy and how this is like a jasmine monster. This is like Little Shop of Horrors, but instead of, feed me Seymour, this is like the jasmine saying that. This jasmine can probably kill people. So that is Lush Lust. I'm actually going to do my jasmines and my roses and then one little extra. Next in line, we have Serge Lutens jasmine perfume. That is Fils de Joie. This is not the jasmine perfume of A la Nuit. I regrettably got rid of that perfume because, I just thought that Serge Lutens would just be $40 on FragranceNet forever. Haha, joke's on me. But that perfume is like very jasmine, green bud, kind of safe, pretty and safe. This is dark, indolic jasmine with lots and lots of clove and just sitting in the darkest honeycomb you could ever imagine. It is really strong. It's a little bit sweeter than our friend Lust, but this is rich. This is dark. This blooms at night, and it's still honeyed and it's still spicy. So it has all of those extras. It's not here to be clean. It's not here to be friendly. It's here to be in your face and punchy and dark. And that is the jasmine perfume from Serge Lutens called Fils de Joie or Fil de Joie. Another spicy jasmine is from the niche indie perfume company called Rouge, and that is Jasmine Antique. I admit this is a little bit more soft around the edges, but this has a huge hit of pure jasmine surrounded by clove and also based in vanilla. And this is this jasmine is not cleaned up for people's sensibilities. This is not Valentina Donna born in Roma. Okay, this is not the jasmine that we're going to find at Ulta. This is dark and rich, and it's the real deal. It's unadulterated jasmine. But if you're feeling a little bit less sassy, the clove is it's calmer, and it does fade off into a bit of a vanilla base. But still, this is also the real deal. I'm really glad that I have this perfume. That is Jasmine Antique from Rouge. Just get out there and be aggressive. Now let's move on to some roses. This is a really beautiful but dark ambery rose geranium perfume from the company called Divine, and this is their Spirituelle. This is a dark spicy rose folded into amber, but it also has a lot of like spiky geranium in it. And it's just, it's a dark, lush, but anchored in bitterness by the geranium rose. This is really pretty though. I like to wear this a lot. But per the color, it fits really well with our vampy attitude that we have right now. And I really like this rose perfume from Divine Spirituelle. I've talked about this perfume before from Miller Harris. This is Rose and Noir. This is rose and violets sitting in a forest, but yet they're even hidden in the forest because they are cloaked in vetiver. Vetiver and velvet, vetivery velvet. It's so beautiful. It's so woody. This is a just secretive wood cloaked rose that is absolutely stunningly gorgeous. But there's nothing, this is not a hard cornered rose though. Everything about it is very soft because of the velvet, like even the vetiver, excuse me. The vetiver is velvety. I don't know how they did it, but they did. And that is the dark rose violet perfume from Miller Harris called Rose and Noir. The last niche perfume I have is from Parfums d'Empire, and that is Salut. As you can imagine, this perfume smells like wine. It smells like oaky wine barrels and grape leaves, and it's like the whole wine experience from start to finish. I've really never smelled a perfume quite like this. This kind of reminds me almost like of a woody fruity chypre almost. There's a little bit of a citrus hit on the top, but this does smell like a dark red wine that has been cured in oak. You can also smell the leaves, like grape leaves, so it smells like there's like vines growing all over it. And as it settles down, it does become a little bit mossy, but you can still just smell that really dark red wine and grape leaf motif. And you know, I think this is a rather dark and vampy perfume for those people that like their wine very dark and red. And that is Salut from Parfums d'Empire. I guess I'll just do a couple niches next, because we always have to have a Guerlain, one I don't talk about very much. This is Mitsouko from Guerlain. This is a vintage eau de toilette. Now this perfume is vintage anyway because it came out in 1919, but Guerlain still makes it. Now, back in the day, this was an oak moss bomb. This was a fruity chypre. This is rose, iris, and jasmine surrounded by dark woods and incense and cinnamon and spices, and it dries down into an oak moss bomb, especially back in the day. What I have smelled on some more recent versions of Mitsouko, even starting like after Y2K when they started decreasing the amount of oak moss, is that they just kind of made Mitsouko smell a little weird. You know how reformulations sometimes, like, they just smell terrible. Like, it's like they don't have the materials that they used to have for whatever reason. Cost, availability, they're illegal, I don't know. But instead of either just not doing it anymore or finding someone, you know, better materials or whatever, they make it smell a little bit weird. And what I'm getting at is old Mitsouko smells very dated. It smells like a dark-haired princess, you know, in a castle. You know, if anything, not even like a good princess. It's more like Disney villain versus Disney princess. It's like Ursula and Maleficent, and not Ariel and, I don't know, I'm not up on my Disney princesses, Snow White, I guess. But you know, just like the imagery of the rose being surrounded by all these vines and woods and oak moss and spices. It's just a really dark, beautiful perfume. And other people that have smelled Mitsouko, if you read a lot of reviews, they will talk about how it almost smells spooky. It smells like something is wrong. It smells like something in the house has passed away. And they're not wrong, because I have a bottle of Mitsouko that acts like that. I still like it, and there's still parts of it that I like, but I think that that's what happened during the multiple reformulations of this perfume, because they are not able to just throw in that dark, inky, just licheny smelling oak moss. And this is a hit of darkness. This is for a dark soul. That is vintage Mitsouko from Guerlain. Yeah, they managed to put a peach in it because it's Guerlain and they have to be gourmand no matter what. This perfume is actually a celebrity perfume, but I'm just lumping it in within my designers. This is from Elizabeth Taylor, and this is a bottle of Passion, which came out either in 1987 or 1989. Okay. Even today, I think that Elizabeth Taylor's perfumes are still one of the best-selling celebrity perfumes of all time. Like, people still love white diamonds, you know, and I've actually never smelled what is current on the shelf for Passion. If you are ever looking for vintage, you have to look for this purple medallion and the gold medallion in the front. The new bottles are just all silver. They got rid of these little embellishments. Anyway, as far as what this smells like, this is like a midnight perfume. This is like your best black dress at a freaking seance at midnight. This is like dark purple flowers, like dark purple tuberose, dark purple jasmine, surrounded by artemisia and greens and incense, and it's just dark, and it has just this hint of dirty incense and myrrh, and just if this perfume was bottled today and they put it in a $500 niche container, it wouldn't be for everybody, but people would notice it. And it's funny that this is just, you know, this was just the drugstore perfume back in the 80s, but this is for real people that just don't give a crap anymore, and they want to wear what they want to wear, and they love incense, and they love dark perfume, and they love, you know, heavy hits of florals, and just everything melts together. And this is a wonderful perfume. It used to be very easy to find in vintage, but anyone that wants to look for the old bottles, that's what they look like. And and here's too, Elizabeth Taylor. You know, she was in that Gothic movie, Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, with Paul Newman. It's a good movie. It's a Tennessee Williams play. Anyway, Elizabeth Taylor Passion. Where would any perfumist like be without the original non-conformist perfume, which is Clinique Aromatics Elixir perfume spray. AE. Now, I did pull out my pretty limited edition bottle that I don't wear that much because it has a little bit of engraved flowers on it, and it's funny because I feel like even though this bottle is like 10 years old, I feel like it's a hair brighter and more floral than regular Aromatics Elixir, even compared to what's on the shelf now. But if you want to talk about a dark witch's brew, this is what this is. It's funny that, you know, advertising is a little bit disingenuous when they advertise as being nonconformist, but in a way they kind of are, because Clinique's whole thing is like, we are, you know, we're clean and we're fragrance free and we're hypoallergenic. And then they put out this. This is the perfume that has anchored them for like 50 years, since the early 70s. And I've always thought of this as an oak moss perfume, but this is just tons and tons of just florals that have been distilled down into their essence. Lots of herbs, clary sage, chamomile, lots of woods, lots and lots of patchouli. The patchouli in here is very strong. Patchouli, sandalwood, vetiver, incense. But there's also a really, really strong floral component to this. And this is not going to be for everyone, but this also just doesn't smell like anything else. This smells like aromatics, and it is unique, and it is a nonconformist fragrance, and it is perfectly vampy for your black outfit. And that is Clinique Aromatics Elixir. And we'll just end on some designers, because designers can be dark too. And I'm looking at these and I realize that some of these are actually old and may count as vintage, like is Black Orchid from Tom Ford Vintage. I don't know. This perfume has 9 million notes. It has a lot of dark chocolate in it. It's dark as hell. It's funky a little bit. Not everybody likes this. I do know that back in the day, my old perfume bottles of this said that they had oak moss in this perfume too, which I always thought was really cool. I felt like it was like a secret chypre. Most people are at least familiar with Black Orchid. This is a just dark perfume that anyone could wear. Men, women. It smells amazing. I don't even know what the notes are anymore. It just smells like a melange of like musk and chocolate and flowers to me. But here's to you, Tom Ford. This is when Tom Ford put out some really interesting stuff, and that is Black Orchid. Black Vamp, Black Orchid. This is from Elizabeth and James, going back to roses. This is their Nirvana Rose. And a little bit like another one of my roses, this rose is very dark. It is full of geranium, it is full of bitterness, and it is also very green, and it is full of vetiver. But the vetiver here is rather pronounced, and it's not smoky, but it's like spiky. It's like textured. There's no smoothness to it. This perfume is very discordant. And anyone that has ever given me a compliment on this perfume, it's always been other women that you can tell are a little bit, I was going to say edgy. I don't know how else to describe it, but you know, they're not going to be perfect. They're a little bit more rough around the edges. So I've had several women compliment me on this, and that's who this perfume is going to be for. But I don't know how they managed to put out such a strong, just bombastic, dark, rosy perfume like this. This is so pure of roses. Like I can just feel the roses just pulsating through everywhere. But the color for this just fits this perfume perfectly. This dark burgundy red, perfectly vampy. Vampy roses, Elizabeth and James Nirvana rose. Another dark rose perfume that is mixed with plum is one of my favorites. It's Bottega Veneta Eau de Velours. Ooh, maybe I'll wear this today. I don't know. It's getting cooler out, so I can also finally wear all these perfumes again. Bottega Veneta Eau de Velours is a dark, smoky, plummy, dark rose that has a bit of like suede vetiver, or excuse me, suede leather on the bottom. So if you don't like leathery roses, this is maybe not going to be for you. This is also rather dry. The woods in here are all dry, like tinder dry, like imagine it'll go up in flames. But this is dark and sultry and just an absolutely stunningly beautiful rose. I did a review on this a very long time ago if anybody wants to listen to it. But that is Bottega Veneta Eau de Velours. I'm just going to end on some randos here. I was really shocked when I tested this perfume at Ulta of all places. This is one of the L'Autre Ouds from Givenchy. This is their Parfum Rouge. Now, I'm not going to say that part of what attracted me to this bottle was the gorgeous red. Because red is just my favorite color, and look at just how dark and beautiful the bottle is. It's just stunning. Looks like a beautiful red ruby or a beautiful red garnet. But this is a really spicy. I was kind of surprised that they were a little bit unique about this one. Now, the basis for all of these L'Autre Ouds are like a dark tuberose with a bit of woods on the bottom, but this is surrounded by a very dark and rindy blood orange and like ginger. So it has made the whole tuberose really spicy, and it's like spicy and rich, and it dries down again to a dark set of woods. So I think this is the only tuberose I have on this list, but if you want a nice, dark, vampy tuberose that's also very spicy and very autumn appropriate, I really recommend the Rouge version of L'Autre Oud. And I think this is at the discounters now, so even if it's just for the bottle, I just love the bottle so much. This is from the company Agent Provocateur. This is their blue silk perfume. I don't know why they decided on a butterfly motif, but whatever. Okay, so this perfume is fruity, it's spicy, it's woody, it's really different, and it's really unique. The bottle's really pretty. I must have lost the little leather strap, but why are these so satisfying? I just can appreciate that they put their perfumes in a different kind of bottle. But anyway, going back to blue silk. Now this perfume at the heart has a nectarine tinged rose, but what is surrounding it is a ton of pink pepper and lots of like pine tree and juniper berry notes, which can be a little bit astringent, and can also have a hint, teeny tiny hint of that like turpentine pine. I like it because it smells natural to me. It doesn't smell overly like you're stepping into like a garage or a wood shop or anything like that. But this rose is spicy, it's dark, it's really woody, it's really piney, it's really green in that like forested way, and it just dries down into this beautiful set of woods. Some people say that this smells like the old sensuous noir from Estee Lauder, and it does a little bit. It has a little bit of that like dark woody, but a little bit sweet on the bottom, like patchouli rose, stuff like that. But Anyway, I've always enjoyed blue silk because I love juniper notes, and those are really hard to find. Juniper and pine notes on a beautiful rose. Oh, so gorgeous, spicy, forested rose. And the really sad thing about this, I should have bought 9 bottles because I think I literally bought this for like $12.99 a couple years ago, and I don't even want to see how much it costs now. But here's a nice, even though it's blue, it's a nice dark vampy forest scent. Blue silk. And I'm just going to end on this random Lancome perfume. I think this is still around. I have an old bottle of it though, and I've been neglecting it, so I was happy to pull it out. So this is from Lancome, and this is L'Autre Oud. L'Autre Oud. Out of all these perfumes, this is probably actually the easiest to wear as far as if, you know, how vampy you want to get. But this is a rosy oud, but it also has a bit of spices. It has a bit of sweet. It has a bit of fruits. But realistically, this is just a spicy ambered rose. I don't find that this is overly oudy. Maybe on the top, it has some of that, like, what is that? I don't even know what the adjective is. It almost has like, sometimes oud has this like liquidy, inky smell. But that's what I smell on the top. But this never gets overly barnyardy. It doesn't get overly, you know, difficult. But this is a spicy, saffron-y, kind of spiky, slightly inky rose, but it settles down and just becomes a little bit ambery on the skin. But still, especially now that it's finally getting cooler. God bless America. God bless Michigan. It's finally October. I can start wearing all these beautiful dark perfumes again. So I would recommend L'Autre Oud if you're feeling a little bit more in a generous spirit, a little bit more sociable in your vampy dark mood. But that's the last one. So this was obviously just for fun. I even put a little black dress on. I'm probably not going to wear this today, but I was just kind of like, it's finally going to be October. I did a bunch of amber perfume videos last year, and I was like, what exactly is the opposite of like the bubbly clean girl and the perfect soft girl? It's the vampy girl. So here's for all the vampy people out there. Even if you're not always vampy, you know, we can always have our little dark side. So I don't know, maybe later I can have a cup of coffee with some whiskey in it and just bask in my vamp today. And let me know what kind of dark perfumes you like. I don't know why my mind goes, when I think of like vampy perfumes, my mind does go to florals, but they're not cleaned up florals. They're always like true to the source, skanky florals, heavy florals, you know, florals that are just basking in all sorts of spices and leathers and like, you know, dark things. And if you've stuck with me for this long, I always appreciate you guys being here because I'm so low tech and low budget and I just like stumble over everything sometimes. And anyway, have a great day. Let me know what your picks are. Let me know how you're doing, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.